Look, nobody wants to be passive, nobody wants to be weak, no one wants to be kicked around by life. And certainly the ancient Stoics didn't either. The Stoics were masters of the universe. The Stoics lived in Greece when it ruled the world. The Stoics lived in Rome when it ruled the world. Marcus Aurelius was literally the most powerful person on the planet. I'm Ryan Holiday, I'm the author of The Daily Stoic, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about in today's episode. How Stoicism can help you master your environment, master your life, master yourself. Stoic strategies for power, Stoic strategies for success, Stoic strategies for making a dent in the universe, because I know that's what you're trying to do, because that's what we're all trying to do. So let's get into it. The one thing a leader can never say, can never excuse anyone in their organization saying is, I did not think that would happen. You have to be prepared. The Stoics practice premeditatio malorum. They think about what might happen. They're prepared for what might happen. Seneca says the unexpected blow lands most heavily. He says you must rehearse them in your mind. Exile, war, torture, shipwreck. Be ready for them. Have a plan for them. Know that stuff outside your control is going to happen, but what matters is how you respond to what happens. And part of how you respond is how you prepare before it's even happened. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great leaders of all time, what advice does he have for aspiring leaders, for leaders today? He learns from Antoninus to listen to experts and when not to listen to experts. He is convinced that the power he's been given has to be used for good. He says we're here for each other. He says know what is enough, right? To be craving more and more and more always brings about ruin. He says that you have to tie your success to your effort, to tie your ambition to what other people say or do. He says this is insanity and it will ruin you and break you. And then finally, he says you have to do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter. That's the job of a leader. You have to make the hard decisions. Sometimes you're going to piss people off. Sometimes you're going to have to hurt a few feelings, but the leader does the right thing because it's the right thing. End of story. The famous dictum from Lord Acton is that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. What's remarkable about Marcus Aurelius is that he's perhaps the only exception to this rule that we know. He's given absolute power. What is the first thing he does with it? He gives half of it away to his stepbrother. It's a remarkable testament to the power of this philosophy, what Stoicism can make a person. And that's not an accident. In Meditations, Marcus Aurelius warns himself against being Caesarified, of being dyed purple, of being changed by the power and fame and money that the position has given him. We have to be worried about being changed by the number of followers that we have, by the promotion that we just got, by the famous name that we inherited. You're not special. The rules do apply to you. You're not better than anyone else. Power doesn't have to corrupt. What it can do is reveal. It can reveal who you actually are. We think that being really rich, being really powerful, having an important job, that this is gonna free up our lives, right? We even call it financial freedom. But it's important, the Stoics would say, that we look at the actual lives of the people that we're aspiring to be like. There's this haunting scene, I tell it in Lives of the Stoics. Posidonius, one of the great Stoics, is there for the death of Marius. Marius being one of the richest and most powerful of the Roman generals. And he watches this man who commanded these great legions, but as Seneca said, those legions commanded him. He wasn't in control of his life, he wasn't in control of himself, and it was a miserable, lonely way to go. And so it's important that you study the lives of the rich and famous, as they say, not because celebrity gossip is interesting, but because you get a glimpse of what it's actually like to be those people, to have those things. And it's not as empowering as you think it is. Ernest Renan said of Marcus that Marcus was probably the least free of all men. That's why Marcus didn't love being emperor. He didn't have control over his schedule, over his life, what people said about him. His private life is gone. It wrecks his family in many ways. So it's really important that we study. We ask ourselves, is getting this thing actually going to give me what I want? Or am I fooling myself that someday in the future by having it, it's not how it's going to work? You're not going to be successful because you haven't defined what success is. You haven't really thought about where you're trying to go. Seneca says that if you don't know what port you're sailing towards, no wind is favorable. If you don't take the time to really go, where am I trying to go? What does that look like? Why am I interested in that? Why is that important? Is that in my control? You're not going to be able to make the individual day-to-day, part-by-part decisions that will allow you to actually get there. You won't know how to respond properly to the things, to the opportunities, and to the obstacles that you face along the way. So neither Odysseus or his son Telemachus would have survived the Odyssey were it not for some help. Odysseus is helped by Athena, but Telemachus is helped by Athena in human form. And whose form does she take? It's an old family friend named Mentor. I think this is rather revealing. Basically, Odysseus and Telemachus are a product of the mentorship of this God who is looking out for them. And of course, all of us are a product of our mentors. Zeno wouldn't have discovered philosophy without Crates. Marcus Aurelius couldn't have been a philosopher king without his philosophy teachers, yes, but also without Antoninus, who mentors him for 20 years. I would not be here without the mentorship of Robert Greene. Not all of us have gods in our lives, but mentors can serve as a kind of God-like figure. Why would we want to learn from experience what we can learn from the experiences of others? We want to benefit from the hard-won wisdom of those who have gone before us, those who know more than us. And this is a super powerful lesson from the Odyssey. And of course, it is a reminder of the power of mentors and mentorship. People say they want things to be calm, they want things to be easy, they want to have time. They claim that they want success, they claim that they hate stress, but then look at their choices, look at your choices. Do you really mean it? In one of his letters, Seneca talks about people who choose to plunge headlong into the middle of the flood. He's referring to people whose lives are filled with needless drama, with conflict, with busyness, with chaos and dysfunction. Sure, a Stoic should be able to endure difficult circumstances. We should be able to manage stress, but we shouldn't choose stress. We shouldn't add stress on top of the stress that life throws our way. I think about Elon Musk. Here's a guy with multiple kids, multiple companies. He's doing really important stuff. So why does he wake up every day and choose violence on Twitter? Why does he wake up every day and plunge into the flood of division and culture war nonsense? Why does he add stress on top of the stress? And there's a cost to this, right? The lawsuits, the reputational damage, the muddling of the message. If you read Walter Isaacson's biography of Musk, you get a sense that this guy's not actually having any fun while he's doing it. He's even described how no one would actually trade places with him if they knew what it was like. He says, my mind is a storm. But his life is also a storm by choice. He chooses storm on top of storm. And this prevents him from being more successful than he could be. And it also prevents him from enjoying said success. So yeah, sure, he's very rich, but his life sucks. And we have to think about that. Why are we choosing violence? Why are we choosing stress if serenity and peace and contentment and clarity is our goal? Why do our choices, why do our social media habits, why does our media diet say something very differently? I've got a long commute these days. My kids go to school pretty far away from us. My wife and I have been trying to fill that time productively. One of the things we've been doing is listening to masterclasses, because what masterclass does is take the best experts in the world and distill their expertise, their experiences down into digestible, bite-sized lessons. But you don't just have to watch masterclasses. You can listen to them in audio-only mode in the car. I actually recorded a masterclass myself last fall on how to apply philosophy to modern life. It was amazing to see the production that goes into it, the experts they bring in to help you get your best lessons out there. Masterclass has a bunch of great offers now for the holidays, sometimes as much as up to 50% off. And you can head over to masterclass.com/Ryan Holiday for the current offer. That's right, up to 50% off Masterclass at masterclass.com/Ryan Holiday. For great holiday gifts and, of course, for learning yourself, go to masterclass.com/Ryan Holiday. The secret to success is very simple, Marcus Aurelius says in his Meditations. You just have to concentrate on this thing in front of you. He says, concentrate on it like a Roman. He He says, do what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. He says, do it tenderly, do it willingly, do it with justice. And then he says, do it like it is the last thing you are doing in your life. Simple to say, hard to do, right? Concentration is so difficult in this noisy, busy modern world. You are on your phone right now. You are sitting on a computer right now. You are not focusing. You are not doing the thing in front of you. You are not doing it like it's the last thing you are doing in your life. You're doing it like you'll get another million shots at it. You're doing it like it's not important. You are doing it like it doesn't matter. And then you're wondering why you're not making the progress that you want to make. The benefits of Stoicism are clear. It offers resilience, it offers fortitude, it offers courage, it offers productivity and focus and self-command. This is all great. And these are the reasons people have been talking about and sharing the ideas in Stoicism for thousands of years. Because it works, because it makes you better. But it's important that we don't miss that for all that Stoicism offers, it also asks a lot of us. It doesn't just ask a lot of us in terms of deprivation and hard work. It asks a lot of us morally and ethically. Just that you do the right thing, Marcus Aurelius says in Meditations. The rest doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're cold or warm, tired or well-rested. It doesn't matter if people recognize or appreciate it. There were Stoics who gave their lives for these abstract notions of courage and discipline, and most of all, justice and wisdom. So Stoicism asks a lot of us. It asks that we be a good person. It asks that we be principled. It asks that we be kind. It asks that we be public-oriented, that we do works for the common good. So if your attraction to Stoicism is all the things that it does for you, and you ignore what it asks of you, you're just using it to become a better sociopath. And that's not who the Stoics were, and that's certainly not who they wanted you to be. You can't pick and choose. Stoicism is a well-rounded philosophy that yes, offers a lot to us, but it also asks a lot of us. There's a Stoic named Helvidius, who's a senator in the time of Vespasian. And he's quite critical of Vespasian, and Vespasian doesn't like it. He calls Helvidius aside and says, you must stop this. And Helvidius says, look, you may have the power to remove me from the Senate, but as long as I'm in the Senate, he says, I have to go in and do and say what I think is right. It's my job. And Vespasian says, if you don't stop, I'll kill you. And he says to Vespasian, the man who has power of life and death over him, he says, I'll do my job and you do yours. So this decision to get involved, to speak up, to do what's right, to insist on what's right, to fight for not just your rights, but the rights of others. This is where the virtues come together. Today's quote from the Daily Stoic is, often injustice lies in what you aren't doing, not only what you are doing. This goes to that famous quote that's now a sort of a common expression, that the only thing that evil needs to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Yes, other people might be committing the injustice, but if you don't say anything, if you don't try to stop it, if you just go along with it, then you are complicit in it happening. There is only one rule in life, and it's, God damn it, you gotta be kind. That's the great Kurt Vonnegut. I love that line. And it's not just a rule, it is a way of living. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, said, everyone we meet is an opportunity for kindness. That's why I don't understand this backlash against political correctness, against wokeness. Sure, some of these things are annoying, and maybe they're a little excessive. But I'm not sure how the solution to that is being an asshole, is being unkind, is embracing cruelty, is celebrating people who treat other people shitty. It's a violation of the one rule of life. It is a violation of the one thing that good people do, which is practice empathy, which is care about how their actions affect other people, which is care about what is going on with other people. Elon Musk said recently that he thinks the fatal flaw of Western civilization is empathy. That's fucking nonsense. That is insane. That's the kind of thing that a sociopath says, that a psychopath says. Stoicism is not a recipe for making you care less about other people. Stoicism is the ability to regulate your own emotions, your own feelings, so you can care and think about other people. So you can follow this one great rule from Kurt Vonnegut, which is be kind, treat other people well. More than any other topic in Meditations, what does Marcus Aurelius talk about? It's not resilience. It's not about emotional regulation. It's not about self-control or self-command. The thing that Marcus Aurelius talks about 80 times in Meditations is our interconnectedness, the idea of a common good. And we can imagine him coming to Athens, which he does later in life as part of his pursuit of philosophy, getting up to the Acropolis or one of these hills and looking down at what would have then been only an ancient city. And yet it was also a modern city full of people very different than him, people who he disagreed with on a lot of things, people who he had to make hard decisions about. And yet he's reminding himself over and over again that we're put here for each other, that he's not a citizen of Rome, he's a citizen of the world. Today, globalism has become this sort of slur, but we have to be globalists. The distinctions about where you're born don't fucking matter. When you get up from a high enough view, when you look at Earth from space, that you don't see the borders, they don't exist, right? No, we're all cut from the same thing, the Stoics. We're all part of this larger whole, and we have an obligation to each other, and we have to treat each other well. We have to treat each other right. It's good character and works for the common good, Marcus really said. That's what life is about. Over and over and over again, the Stoics talk about our interconnections with each other. That's what it's about. One of my favorite quotes from Martin Luther King Jr., he says, obviously we're using the tools of persuasion. He says, but we're also using the means of coercion. People think that causes that succeed because they're just right. They think that the way to bring them into the world is just to have really compelling arguments about why it's true or why their way of doing things is better. What Martin Luther King understood more than any activist of his generation, perhaps of all time, is the power of leverage. The Montgomery bus boycott was a show of force. He nearly bankrupted the bus company. He was applying continual and relentless pressure. He understood fundamentally that black people outnumbered white people in the South. And he understood that every single one of them that registered to vote then had leverage and power over the politicians, over the laws that were oppressing him. So yes, he spoke beautifully. He spoke powerfully. He was morally correct, but he also understood leverage. He understood power, right? He understood, as Robert Greene says in the 48 Laws of Power, that you don't appeal to mercy or gratitude, you appeal to self-interest. You apply power and coercion in addition to persuasion. And that's what made Martin Luther King not just morally correct, but it's what allowed him to succeed and change the world. The only reason to study philosophy, the Stoics said, was to become a better person. Nietzsche said that all that other kind of philosophy is just a critique of words by other words. The point of philosophy to the Stoics was to be a better person, to contribute to a better world. It's not just complex ideas, it's not just big words, it's not just a bunch of names of philosophers you can't pronounce, it's not just a bunch of dead old white guys. It's a vibrant philosophy designed to help you practically with the problems of life. It feels gross, right? Like, not just that we take something like Thanksgiving or Christmas and we make it all about commercialism, materialism, buying stuff. But there's all this pressure, right? As a small business, this is my bookstore here in Texas, like, what's your Black Friday sale? What's your Cyber Monday sale? What deals do you have? I was just getting so grossed out by it, and I hated it, that a couple of years ago, my wife Samantha and I just decided we weren't gonna participate in it at all. And not only were we not gonna participate, we're gonna do the opposite, which is to say we were gonna use 2 of the best sales days of the year, not to sell stuff, but to do stuff for other people. So this year, like we've done every year for the last 5 years, for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, We don't want you to buy anything from us. Instead, we want you to donate money to Feeding America. Over the last 5 years, we've raised close to $1 million or 10 million meals for people who are hungry. All of this being extra relevant this year with the whole stuff about SNAP benefits and the government shutdown. If you want to participate, just go to dailystoic.com/feeding. $1 provides up to 10 meals for people in need. My wife and I and Daily Stoic donated the first $30,000. That gets us 10% of the way to our goal. We'd like to get to $300,000. All you got to do is donate a little bit of money at dailystoic.com/feeding. When I wrote The Daily Stoic 8 years ago, I had this crazy idea that I would just keep it going. The book was 366 meditations, but I'd write one more every single day and I'd give it away for free as an email. I thought maybe a few people would sign up. Couldn't have even comprehended a future in which 750,000 people would get this email every single day and would for almost a decade. If you want to get the email, if you want to be part of a community that is the largest group of Stoics ever assembled in human history, I'd love for you to join us. You can sign up and get the email totally for free, no spam. You can unsubscribe whenever you want at dailystoic.com/email.